Let's now chat more on the appearance of former Police Minister Bheki Cele before the ad hoc committee investigating criminal infiltration in the police and judiciary. We're now joined by Dr Lennit Max, who's a former Western Cape Provincial Commissioner. Dr Max, good to have you on the program this evening. So as a former Provincial Commissioner, what was your initial impression of former Minister Bheki Cele's testimony before these hearings, particularly the issues of political interference and accountability in the police?
Yes, Minister Bheki Cele got a very entertaining personality, and I really enjoyed his evidence, unlike that of Minister Cele. His evidence indicates clearly that he knows what is the needs of the South African police. He knows what is their responsibilities, and he also knows what is their shortcomings. And I'm impressed with the fact that he put a very high premium on the fact that government should prioritize safety and security in this country and strengthen the criminal justice system to ensure that the environment is conducive for investment and that people feel safe in South Africa. But what is also concerning, he agreed with the question of battles which has been fought in the SAPS. And he said that there are serious battles being fought in the SAPS, very serious. And that needs to be addressed. And it appears there was some sort of a race to become the Hawks commander. And it's for that reason that Lieutenant General Konazi issued a statement to say he's not interested in become a detective. He's trained as a police officer in uniform and to catch criminals, and that is what he going to do. So, yeah, the other thing is that the minister, the former minister, Bheki Cele, he refuted all the excuses or the reasons of Minister Cele, which he wanted to use or actually using to justify his infamous letter dated 31st of December 2024. Among others is the fact that Minister Cele put a very high premium on the fact that the establishment of the PKTT was as a result of political intervention by our president. And he implies, actually, that because of that political intervention, he was also entitled to disband the PKTT as a result of political intervention. But he loses sight of the fact that the president's political intervention preceded proper consultation with the relevant ministers in the criminal justice system, as well as the operational commanders of the South African Police Service, who are obliged and responsible to manage the unit. In his case, there were no consultation at all, despite the fact that both Lieutenant General Mukanazi as well as the National Commissioner, Fanny Masimola, invited him for a briefing so that he can understand the need for this unit, what is their successes, what is their outcomes, and so that he can have a full picture before they go ahead with the disbandment of this. So he refused to attend, and he unilaterally decided that is not good for the police and also not good for South Africa.
Right. With that said, how deeply rooted do you believe political interference is, especially within the police structure? And what impact does this then have on operational independence and morale within the police?
If you take, for example, the police regulations, Section 47K, it provides that from the rank of Major General, Lieutenant General, when the National Commissioner have got vacancies in those ranks, and he wants to fill it, that he must consult with the minister first on the chairperson of that panel, and he must get the minister's agreement to that. And he must also then, before appointment, he must first consult, in consultation with the minister, consult that for the whether the successful candidates can be promoted. So if the minister is not in agreement, the National Commissioner cannot go ahead to appoint that. So that is also a very serious intervention, political, not intervention, but what's the word? Interruption, whatever. Interference in the operational structures of the police. Then on the other hand, as much as I like Minister Cele's evidence yesterday and today, and agree with most of what he said, is it so that he was, in my view, a bit too much on the forefront of the operations of the South African Police Service, and you hardly saw the National Commissioner Fanny Masimola during his tenure as Minister of Police. So it is only now, with the appointment with Minister Mthunu, that the National Commissioner Fanny Masimola come to the fore and do what he was expected to do in the past.
Also interesting is that former Minister Cele also admitted to knowing this Vusimuzi Cat Matlala and meeting him after the raid at his home. In your experience, how concerning are such relationships between senior police figures and individuals who are implicated in criminal investigations?
You see, the former minister, I think he mentioned that, if I'm correct, that he did it now after, because he was not appointed as a minister, he's not in the structures of government. And as a civilian, he had the right to meet with these people, although, in my view, it's a risk, because former Minister Cele is still an NEC member in the ANC, as he actually testified. He's also still involved in politics, and it might happen that in future they might offer him another position as a minister or other position with executive powers, and he might be captured by Vusi Musi Kat Matala. And what is further concerning to me is the fact that he said that he met this man in December last year, 2024. But I think January or February, he was, if my memory serves me correct, he slept twice in his penthouse for free. Now, as you know, as much as I know, nothing in this world, there's no free lunch. If you don't pay up now, you will pay up later. And that is how business people capture you. They do you for favors, and when it matters, they ask their dividends.
Strange, Cele said he didn't expect that Matlala would have any expectations coming from the minister. But when senior officials are seen engaging with controversial figures or businessmen under investigation, more explicitly, if I may ask, what message does this then send to officers on the ground, but also to the South African public?
Yes, you know, that strengthens the view and perception of police corruption and politicians who's corrupt. You understand? So and they demoralize police officers, because although former minister is not active now as a police general, as well as a minister, they still respect him. And they still respect me, because I'm also holding the rank of lieutenant general. So we have to be careful what we do, because these people, police officers, we sit with a problem in the police at the moment, and they might think, no, that's fine to do the same and follow their former leaders, which they still respect.
Yeah. But Cele also defended the task team as good for the country, the political killings task team. Do you agree that such specialized units are essential, or do they risk being politicized, depending on who establishes them or who disbands them in this case?
You see, special units is a prerogative of the National Commissioner as well as provincial commissioners to address a particular issue as a crime phenomena in a province or at national level. In this case, we had, it's for years that we experienced this killing of councillors, ANC councillors, and then now and then councillors from other political parties. So it's government's duty, government in terms of the constitution had an obligation to address it and to ensure that those who break the law count for it, for their deeds. And in doing so, they established this PKTT. Now, since it's for some time now that we did not hear of this type of killings, which is an indication that the situation has been contained, not addressed fully so that you can dissolve the unit, is contained, and there are some successes. It is difficult to get a high success rate. Now, some people think that you must have a 90% success rate given the money spent as well as the composition to gather evidence to ensure that you got a prima facie case and the state can prove the case beyond reasonable doubt is a very difficult process because these killings are properly planned and the real guys who give in the instructions is not nearby. So it is difficult. You must have informers, and we experienced that in the past that our crime intelligence was not used for the purpose they were established in terms of the constitution, but for political purposes. And I think there are now efforts to redefine them under the command of Lieutenant General Kumalu and to put their focus where it should be.
Yeah. As we wrap our conversation, Cele also claimed that only the president could disestablish the task team and not the minister or Minister Mkhunu. From a governance perspective, how clear are these lines of authority, especially in the police and the Ministry of Police?
You know, it is not this interference, political interference is not new. It's not that it starts now with 31st of December. You know, politicians, I think in the Anwar Dramat, he was the Hawks of the head of the Hawks. He was interviewed by politicians as well for that position. Politicians who doesn't have a say in terms of the constitution in the appointment of police officers. Then you got Dluli, who's actually now in prison. He was also interviewed by politicians. So this is entrenched for some time in South Africa that politicians manage the operations and the decision-making in the South African Police Service. So, and that needs to stop. And therefore, I agree with the Minister, former Minister Cele, that given the fact that the President took the lead and absolutely headed this, ultimately, this PKTT, it is only prudent that the President actually disband or close down this PKTT. If he did not delegate that powers to the minister. Now, on that point, I just want to make it clear, the minister also claimed that he had the permission of the president to close down. Now, that is not true. According to his own evidence, he stated that it is after he issued this letter for the disbandment of this unit that he went to the president to inform the president. The president cannot say close the thing and something that he already instructed to be closed. So the president, in my respective view, took notice of what he said, for instance, and would not like to embarrass a minister. I don't know what was their relationship, and he said, okay, I took notice of it. That is what I assume, but it's not that the president gave the instruction. that PKTT should be disbanded. Not at all.
Dr. Lennit Max, thank you so much for sharing your insights and perspective on these complex and deeply important issues. Of course, as the ad hoc committee continues its inquiry, one thing remains clear, that building a credible and accountable police service in South Africa is essential to also restoring public trust in the country's justice system. Dr. Max is also the former Western Cape Provincial Commissioner.